Doing a VOD review for Zenyatta. Currently VOD reviewing for Ft.BBYHIME. Just to go over the nitty gritties, right? Zenyatta is an off support, which means that he will bring more utility than he will do healing. So in this case, his utility will be damage, right? Damage amp. He has a Discord orb, which when applied to enemies allows his whole team to hit that enemy for 15% more damage, which is a lot, right? So primarily this game, you're going to be looking to do a lot of damage, right? It's unfortunate that you have a Mercy as your other support, so healing overall will be lackluster. So typically that would opt for a change, but we're going to focus on you mostly. So if this was the case, I would swap to like a Moira, an Ana, a BAP, something that has a high heal output. That Mercy can just focus on damage amping. Because as of right now, Mercy should be damage amping the Widow, so he can win those duels and hit one shots easier, right? So and you should be just hard pocketing tanks or your other DPS. Here we go. So as we spawn here, you should be charging up a volley to look to spam, right? Because if you were charging up a right click here, you could have just thrown it down here, and who knows? You could have did a lot of damage. You could have hit a couple headshots and killed somebody, right? So you could have already gotten a pick and you could have won this first corner right here, or you could have set us up to win this first corner. One thing you should realize though is as you're looking, right, you need to figure out what they have, right? What characters do they have and what threats do they pose to me, right? You look at the top left real quick, they have a Genji and a Lucio. Those are the two characters that can get on top of you. The other characters will just be spamming you out, right? So your biggest threat is going to be Genji. So in my opinion, you should be playing a lot around your soldier. But if he's overcommitting, obviously you don't follow him in, right? You're going to need to play safe. Because he's going in doesn't mean it's safe for you to go. So right here, you're actually in a really good position, right? The reasoning for that is because you have a line of sight here and a line of sight here, and you have the cart as cover. You don't want to be playing away from cover. Cover is your friend. A quick little rundown of resources when it comes to your character, right? There's going to be your health, right? There's going to be natural cover. Then there's going to be cooldowns, right? You don't have any cooldowns that keep you alive other than your ult, so we can kind of just like that out of here, right? So you have health and natural cover, right? This cart is going to be considered natural cover. The cool thing about natural cover is typically damage cannot go through natural cover. So therefore, if you're behind this box and they shoot the box, no matter how much they shoot the box, it's not going to kill you, right? That's the beauty of it. So basically, that's an unlimited health source. But the downside of that is if you're behind the box and just not getting shot, you're probably not doing anything either. So having a good balance of peeking, doing stuff, and losing health, going back into cover, gaining health, getting out of cover, just so you don't die, right? Just in and out, that you can do things is really good, right? So right here, if I'm you, I see that Lucio, I'm marking him, and I'm just spamming shots down this little chunk. Spamming. Once I can't see it no more because of the cart, I'll probably move over to my left here and play the corner over here and spam down the long line of sight. The good thing about Zenyatta's damage is it doesn't have fall off. So it doesn't matter if they're in your face or if they're like halfway across the map. If you throw your things and it hits them, it's doing the same damage. Obviously, the closer you are, the easier it is to hit because it's a projectile. Yeah. So right here, as you can see, the Zarya is playing the corner and he's popped his bubble. Please don't shoot the bubble. When you shoot her bubble, it gives her charge, kind of like Doomfist, right? So the way Doomfist's fist and her bubble work the same. When you shoot it, right, when it's up, it charges them. So when it charges Zarya, she does more damage. When it charges Doomfist, his punch does more damage. It goes farther, blah, blah, right? But they're augmented by absorbing damage with their abilities, right? So same thing goes for one and the other. You see Zarya put up her bubble? Just don't shoot her for a bit. Let it run out, right? It's meant to protect her. It sucks, but it's something you have to respect. That's how the character works. So seeing that they're so close to the corner, though, and your tank's playing up here, what does that mean? Your tank's not getting shot. That means that they can hold this corner pretty confidently as the Zarya because there's nothing in her face, right? So you need to understand, since your tank's here and she's here, the first thing she's going to shoot is you, not me. You need to play far. You don't want to play in her range. So right here, right, your tank drops because your tank understands that if they maintain this corner, the cart can't move. So the goal of the tank here is to punch them back so we get space. You, on the other hand, stay a little farther back. You still have LOS here. You still have LOS here. You can still do your job without being as close. And just an example of where you could be. If you're right here, you're probably in a better position, right? I know this like, oh, that's not that close, but like, just you're fine. If you take a step back, you're probably a little bit better, but still have these LOSs. You should not be walking. The moment you should walk forward is if this cart gets to this corner and you need a new angle. Right now, your angles are perfectly fine. So what happens, right? Your tank is playing in the front line. You walk behind your tank. Cart gets to the corner, and where should you be? This is where you should be. Back here, or behind the cart, right? Spamming the choke. Be as far away as you can, play around corners, play around covers. Heck, you could be over here, right? You don't even need to be on like directly here because you still have lines of sight, whether you're here or you're at that corner, right? But like you could be playing this corner, but from farther back, this corner, right? Things like that. You're just a little too close right now. But what happens is since you don't have any mobility, can't run away, they're gonna notice that Zenyatta overextended. Zenyatta overextended. Look at that. She's gonna look at you and she's gonna walk straight at you. Oop, dead. Because it's a lot easier to kill you quickly than it is to kill her quickly. So she's going to take that opportunity to walk forward. The lesson that should have been learned is playing too close is dangerous. So you need to make sure as you're walking in, you're assessing the situation. Nice, put a heal on somebody. So personally, right, you can see the Mercies beaming the soldier, which means that the Mercies give the soldier resources. What you should take out of that is, I don't need to invest any more resources into it. Instead of putting orb on soldier, put it on Doomfist, right? So Doomfist can do something, right, because he's enabled by your orb. And then the soldier can do stuff because he's enabled by a Mercy. Spreading out resources. You don't want to always dump it into one person. Marking. Reload. Get your bullet. So right now, you're not reloading. You're not doing anything. You need to be peeking. As a Zenyatta, you need to constantly be doing damage. Constantly throwing out shots. Even if you're not hitting nobody, the chance of you hitting a headshot is amazing. So right now, because I remember from the game, what's going to happen here is the Zenyatta, I mean not the Zenyatta, the Lucio's going to push you. And you're not going to be able to fight him because you're going to take the fight with 3 bullets. And then you're going to run out and he's going to kill you. And bam, no ammo. You need to take a fight here. Ooh. Dead. That also comes down to being aware of the map, right? So you always want to be taking the longest line of sight, right? Obviously, anybody can push the cart, but as a Zenyatta, you don't want to be put in a position when they have dive. You want to be the farthest back in a sense, right? The farther back you are, the more they have to commit to get to you. So if the cart is not safe for you to push, and you have a tank, especially since you're in a call with a tank, hey, Apxche, can you push the cart? It's not safe for me. Cool beans. I'll push the cart. Or, you know, if you were in comms, you could tell somebody else. Or if you just don't get on it, somebody will get on it, right? Because like the Widow shouldn't push the cart. You shouldn't push the cart. It should either be the Doomfist or the soldier, probably. Unless we have control to where it's safe. But we just don't have the high ground control to do that, right? So points of attack that the enemy can come from can come down here. They can come around. They can come up through here and or as well. So with all this being said, I know there's so many angles to look out for, but if we chalk it down to the 3 most common angles, probably be like, right, these are like the most angles you need to watch out for the most part, right? And obviously this high ground. So if that's the case, play behind a statue, you know, play behind these pillars, right? These would be probably like where you want to be because you can see everything and you have that natural cover. Oh, you got res. Okay. You're back. Put an orb, right? Stay away from the tank. Stay away from the tank. Back up. Shoot. So right now, you're not doing anything. And your whole thing with Zenyatta is you need to be constantly doing damage, right? I don't care if you're not hitting nothing. You need to be shooting, 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 shooting. Alright, shoot. Too close, too close. Right here, you see your tanks in. Walk up and just get a mark on somebody. Put an orb on your tank. So one thing about payload, obviously it's different for every modes, right? Obviously the push mode, when you're pushing the robot, right? Only one person should be pushing it because of the fact that it goes a set speed no matter what. But in payload pushes, you can get up to 3 people on the cart and it'll increase the speed. I think typically having 1 to 2 is typically fine. But if you win the fight, why not get 3 and just get the cart as far as possible, especially if getting it past a choke is really important, right? So right here, typically, I would say I wouldn't want you on the cart. But at the same time, maybe having you on the cart's fine because it's 1 less dive target for the Genji up front, right? So right now, like, you could be building ult charge, right? Like, you don't have an orb on anyone this whole time. And right here, there's a little doorway to your right. You could peek me, give me an orb, right? Give somebody an orb. You do, right? Oop, back a cart. Like, right now, like, if you're not doing damage and not discording people, you should be putting an orb out. Orb your Doomfist, orb your Doomfist. Not healing anybody. Orb. It's like Zenyatta's heal is the easiest heal in the world because you just kind of throw it on somebody and forget it, right? Like you don't need to do anything after that. As long as it's on them and they're in your LOS, you're gonna be healing them, right? So if your Doomfist is just brawling in front of you, just throw it on them. You know, like that's huge. Any bit of healing that you can give your tank in that sense is typically pretty nice, right? There you go. Boom. Good heal. Bam. Look down. Get line of sight. Get line of sight. Come on. Bam. Look, you could be right here. Right here helping your Doomfist. And then the cool thing about being right here as well is you can play this corner, right? And you can spam, help your Doomfist. Oh no, Genji dies me. And just sit on the health pack. The second he hits you, right? You get the health pack. Right? So, he does any damage, you mitigate it instantly, and you just fight him normally. And then hopefully your Mercy will help you. So right here you die because you're too far up. Oh, you don't die. You should have died. That's an awareness thing. I didn't know he was there either. But it's hard to know that he's there because you're too far up, so you're just surrounded by everybody. Alright, so now you switch to Moira. So this is technically better because now you have a utility support and now you're going to be doing raw healing. The only issue with this is you don't have a tank that you can technically keep up with. So the better option here would have probably been like Ana or Baptiste, but probably Ana because you can snipe them from far away, right? Same thing with Zenyatta, you can play from a distance, do damage as well as heal your tanks. But with Moira, you kind of want to be like up in the mix. So right there, could have just threw a little like yellow orb at your Widow and then looked frontward, so then you could heal two places at once. So what I mean by tap, I don't mean like tap when I tell you to tap heal. But what I mean is to just like tap and just let it heal. Tap, so it's like be like that. Tap like that. Whenever the over, because it heals over time, right? So you tap them and it's gonna go do, and then once that ends, you can tap them again, or when it's about to end, you know. There's a Zarya there. You see that she's getting res. You should be actively moving backwards now. Because right now, if she doesn't focus, obviously, like if she focuses you, you phase away. But right, it's good. I think that's a good use of that purple orb. What was that dash? Make sure when you're dashing, you know where you're going. You just dash in the middle, and it should kill you. Yeah, Genji kills you because you didn't go nowhere with your dash. You just kind of just like. Another thing that you can do as well is if you see someone that's really deep, especially someone you're in a party with and they're low, try to communicate with them how they can get to you to where you can heal them, or is there a way that you can heal them from that distance, right? Because if you would have been like, hey, if you can get the second arch, I can throw an orb at you, or if you can jump to this high ground, I can throw an orb at you, or if it's safe for you to stay there, I can throw an orb at you that far, right? Things like that. Just little things. Just communicating with the person you're trying to heal.
Soft as the wind, and dim as the night.
There's no healing to be done. You just throw a damage orb. I don't think you can't phase out of. Oh, you can phase out of that. So, got ulted. Happens. So, this is a Symmetra wall. You cannot damage through it. So as long as they're on that side of the wall, your damage is not passing through it. Unless it's your ult. Your ult can go through shield. So right there, like, it looks like you're doing damage because you're hitting the shield, but you're not. Like, you were hitting nothing that whole entire time. I damage orb that Zarya right now. Sorry, hitting her. Heal orb, cool. You have ult, right? So right now, like, you're very tunnel vision on that Zarya, right? And I want you to kind of just like see what you're doing here. So, what you're doing is so basically, there's like sides of the map, right? And you're currently here. So this is our side as of now, right? Their side. What you've done, you've walked onto their side of the map, putting you in danger, and you've turned your back away. Well, you've put your back to them. You don't have any clue that this Moira is hitting you other than the audio and the health going down, right? So right now, you have one person looking at you, and if they're smart, Genji will look at you. So now you put yourself in a position to where the only way you're gonna get out is if you fade, and it's gonna bring you here and not any farther. And Genji can probably just dash on you, right? So you got to make sure that you're playing in positions that are safe for you as a support, because right now in this current meta, supports are very easy to kill. So I would say if you play right here and you throw the damage orb at the what's her name and damage to her. I know you started here and she was here and she wrapped, but like don't chase her. You don't need to chase her. Like your job as a support is not to. Your job isn't to kill things. You know, there's certain supports like Zenyatta where it's like, okay, yeah, your job is to do damage, break shields, right? But your number one job isn't to kill things, it's to support and enable you. Because right there, like, there's 4 people right there. And then, like, any rank higher than this, they're going to all look at you. And you're going to die. Like, right now, they're looking at me, but they shouldn't be. They should be just shooting at you. Genji notices you. Genji's going to come after you. There you go. Good ult. Nice, good focus. The one thing cool about Moira is into Genji is he can't block your damage. So if he starts deflecting, basically almost a free fight win for you. You get more value out of it. Unless she's really low and it'll kill her. That's a good orb right there. So right there, like, we can finish this fight right now. Honestly, if you just make a call, like push, right? Or if like you see me dash in here, just like follow up on me here, because they don't have a tank, right? Nothing to punish you right now. Genji. You should have killed the Genji. This is an aim thing. So she does have an easy to hit gun, but you have to be like remotely close, or it's not good. Right, so you got to look at them. They are. Goofus is going in with his ult to touch, so they're gonna get pulled back. Be a free walk up for the rest of us. You're almost close to your ult. We got the initial pick, so we should be fine. So there's no reason for you to phase in there. We're gonna have the touch already. Your one ability that you can use to reposition, to escape, you've wasted it. So you don't have that for 5 seconds. So right now, if Roadhog wants to, if he sees that you just wasted it, he's throwing a hook. He's throwing a hook and he's killing you. So right there, the Ferret kills your soldier. We kill Hog. Moira's ulting still. Mercy's right next to you. Ends up fighting the Mercy. So right here, damage orb. Right here, damage orb. If somebody's not close to you real quick, you just pull it out, throw it, start doing damage. Because right here, low key, if you throw your damage orb, you do a lot of damage to the Mercy. Probably kill her, and then I think the damage orb would kill the Pharah as well. So if you just throw it out a second earlier, I think you get both of them. Mercy dies, cool. So now, right now you're on the cart, right? But like your Doomfist is there, your Mei's there, your soldier's there, everybody's there, right? So you don't have to worry about maintaining touch. So I said she's vulnerable to crowd control because she can't phase. But when she's ulting, she's healing herself. All right, so right now what I would do is I'd phase just to get like just to see the bigger picture, right? And get a better feel of what you need to do. Or at least back out. So right now you're getting attacked by Genji. So yeah, so Genji. Alright, I guess I didn't mention that. And just look to throw a damage orb early. Throw a damage orb, throw a damage orb, throw a damage orb. There you go. I'm gonna go back and forth with you and finish this. Do not eat that punch, please. Luckily he died, but don't eat punches. Ever. Bear above you, you can hear. You're right here. Your position. Look, your whole team is backed up already. You're still up there, right? So you just gotta make sure that you're keeping a little bit more attention on your team and where they're at so that you can reposition. So right now, I would just fade. I would just fade to your team. There you go. Good job. Heal. Right now, what I would do is I would have thrown a heal orb. The reasoning for that is because your team is you're fighting at a choke. They're gonna take damage. What will happen is you'll throw it. It'll go through your teammates healing them. It'll hit the wall, bounce back, and it'll continue to heal them. Right. So you'll get a lot of heal value out of that orb right now. Another thing too is, like I said, how you have to be really close. I would this wall to your right here. I would hug that instead of playing really far out to your left where you're exposed to a lot of angles. Make sure that you're eliminating angles you have to worry about. Because instead of fighting, one to the left, the one in the middle where the rest is at, and the one to the right where everybody else is at, you don't have to worry about so many if you put yourself in a position to where you only expose yourself to one or two. Right here, you're walking at the Orisa, which you really don't have to because your damage, just like Zenyatta's on Moira's, no matter how close they are to you, you're hitting them with the beam is doing the same amount of damage. You don't need to get closer to them. If anything, you want to make yourself farther so that you're a harder target to hit. As you can see, your other two teammates are playing a little bit closer so they have a little bit of cover. Another thing too is you can use your heal orb to heal yourself. If you need to fade out and use your heal orb on yourself, by all means. That's your only way that you're going to sustain yourself. Alright, so they're about to get first choke. Nothing we can really do here. Don't worry about the Widow. That's your Mercy's job, right? So instead of doing that, you could probably just throw a damage orb down mid, something like that. Just, hey, your Mercy needs to get out. Give Mercy someone to fly to. Good job. I don't know if you did that intentionally, but if you did, that's really good. One thing you need to realize is you don't need to be healing 100% of the time. Like every time your tank takes damage, you don't need to heal it up, right? So the cool thing about tanks is they have a lot of utility that helps them survive. That's their tanks, right? Along with their big health pools. So with Ramattra, he has a shield that he can place down and absorb damage so that he can kind of play around that. He has his Nemesis form, which gives him armor and gives him a little bit more health, right? So he has ways to increase his health or protect himself. So typically what will happen is your tank will take damage, and then once they use an ability to protect themselves, throw your heal orb at him. You can spritz him a little bit, that's cool. Wait for him to pop the shield, and then you can play near him, heal him up. Right here, I would just hug the wall to your right, where the boxes are at. This is good. You decide to ult not only because you can do damage, but you want to heal your tank. That's fine. So right here, you can probably just encourage your tank, like, hey, like, you're getting pocketed, like, you can walk in a little bit. Which we do. Phase out. Oh, you can't. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the ult and you're vulnerable. So right there, you're in your ult. Orisa knows that, so she's gonna pull you in and try to ult you. But obviously, she didn't charge in enough. But right there, that's what I mean that you're vulnerable to crowd control because you can't cancel your ult and you can't use your phase. Yeah, so I feel like the reason why your phases aren't going anywhere is because I think you're probably looking at the ground a little bit. But you should be able to go a lot farther with them. So same thing with, I think I said earlier, with the heal orbs. Instead of throwing it just straight down mid, right, and it heals us for a little bit, try to look for opportunities to bounce it off a wall. So if you throw it towards the wall, it'll heal your teammates, it'll hit the wall, and then it'll bounce back, and it has a chance to do more healing, right? You want to look for bounce heals because of the fact that it gives you extra opportunities to heal. So like heal, 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 bounce, heal, 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 and then it runs out or it runs away. Rather than just heal, 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 gone. Tank needs heals. Yep. Good. Throw heal orb out. Yep. Good. Damage, 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 damage. Spritz a little bit. Yep. Damage. Yep. Just really good. Ult, ult, ult. Yes. Something to your right, I think. For the Mercy if you can. Dies. Yeah, there's a Genji to your right. Throw an orb out. Yep. Nice. Tell you, Genji. Surprisingly, in stressful situations, you do better. Because, like, that's a situation where I would expect you to make mistakes, but I think you played that, like, pretty well. Right there, since your team is, like, really grouped, I would have probably just threw a damage orb. Get back. Nice. Stay back, stay back. Go far up. You don't have no phase. You cannot play close up when you don't have your phase. You shouldn't really play close up in general, but like, don't have phase here. Gonna get pulled and then sword. Yep. Bye, we lose. Lost 2 people to that. So, you know, I know in the game I was like, man, like if Lucio would have just like used his beat to counter an ult instead of to use it, you probably would have been okay. But at the same time, you could have played a lot safer there and not died, and that would have been one less person we would have lost. That probably would have made it a bit more win. Tank basically, right? So right here, it's probably better for you to touch and die than it is for me to touch and die. So right here, we have 6 seconds, right? And then things to consider, right, is that the Orisa can push me back. You can knock me back with Javelin, things like that, right? With that being said, the chances of me touching are very low because I have 2 bubbles, but she also has 2 options to knock me back. So what's going to happen, I'm going to pre-pop bubble here because I don't want to instantly get Javelin, because if I do, it's just game over. So I have to preemptively bubble. Actually, you get Javelin? Okay, yeah. So I have to preemptively bubble so I don't get knocked back, right? And then after that bubble, I have to bubble again so I can go for the touch, right? So with that being said, it would probably be better if you got touch and I bubbled you so that you can dash in and then I can bubble you out, right? Because you can phase in very quickly. Right here, bubble, bubble, right? I get touch, but then I get knocked back. So, so at this point here, your mind needs to be, oh shit, we need touch, and you need to be dashing in right now. Because you're the only other person that can touch here. Right? That's like a higher thinking thing. So I'm not like blaming you for it, but like that's something that as you get better, you'll start to think about those things. Right here, just make sure you're always behind your tank. So a good rule of thumb is I like to give my tank like 5 feet of space, 5 to 10 feet, right? And the reason for that, right? The reason for me doing that is because you are your own person, right? And the tank is their own person. So what does that mean? There is no way that you're going to be able to read my exact movements. You know, because you aren't seeing what I'm seeing out of my eyes. You don't know what I'm processing in my head. So what that means is when I see something, I'm going to react to it. So let's say I see her going this way and I want to block this. If you're right behind me and I move and you don't move, now you're the main target of focus. So what you should be doing is be taking like 5 feet of space here so that you can still heal me, right? Occasionally peek and throw an orb, right? But it gives you enough wiggle room to where if I move to a position that would make it risky for you, if you're in that same position, you can move as well. Like basically giving yourself time to react. It's kind of like if you're driving a car. If you're right behind somebody in a car and they brake, you're hitting them, right? So by giving yourself space, if they slam on the brakes, you have time to stop. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where it's like just giving yourself time to react by playing a little bit farther back. Well, obviously still within your effective range, but farther back. There, so you start doing that right now. Good heal orb. It's not your fault. Your Pharah doesn't know how to not play out and play in cover. The Genji to your right. So right now your focus, Genji, because he's going to kill you. But you're just stuck on the tank. It's very enticing to shoot the tank. Very big target. This might be a thing where you just don't know who to shoot. You know they're there, but you don't. Maybe you're in your head. You're like, we need to kill the tank, right? But in our reality, like I said, Orisa is one of the hardest things to kill in the game right now. You need to focus on her team first. On that, like blatantly. Ults. Your ults were good. Played well in chaos. You didn't like freak out. You swapped heroes when you needed to, right? Obviously, Zenyatta wasn't working. We weren't getting enough heals, right? So you swapped, right? So those are three good things. You were using your ults pretty well, especially on Moira. When things hit the fan, you still were playing up to par, and when you needed to, swapped because you knew there was a better option. Cons. Positioning. Just knowing where you need to be and what lines of sight you need to be based off of what character you're playing. Obviously, if you're playing somebody with like low mobility that can't get out, you probably want to play a little bit farther back, so you give yourself space, time, and cover to be able to escape as well as do things. Whereas in Moira, you can play a little bit closer, right? Target focus. That's just knowing who to shoot at, right? So, for examples, there's a lot of times where you're just like shooting at the tank, and some people might say all damage is good damage when you're playing support, but there's some times where you can focus, squish your things, and probably help your teammates get kills. Better orb usage, just using your orbs a little bit better. Other than that, played pretty well. At the end, I can say it wasn't your fault that you lost the game. Could have played better, but I definitely feel like there was others that could have stepped up a little bit more yeah, if you guys enjoy this content, definitely subscribe so you can keep up to date with me and my YouTube channel. If you guys are looking to get a game VOD reviewed by me, I will be having a VOD review submission tab in my Discord. And to find that, that should also be down below as well. Or if you're watching on stream, just type in !Discord, and then yeah, like to let me know I'm doing a good job. And if you have any comments or any tips to give this person as well, leave it in the comments below. Because obviously we're doing this to help people, as well as if you're looking to, I guess, get some help too. Hey, why not, right?